All right, let's go. Welcome to episode 91 of the 2-Minute Warning. The 5-player deal, including Chris Paul to the Suns, just got finalized today. Jay, what does that mean for both teams?
Yeah, we already kind of did a video on it, but we didn't know exactly what would be included in the package. Kelly Oubre and Ricky Rubio, along with a few other guys, are heading to Oklahoma City. But really, the main focus of this is Chris Paul and the Suns. What are they going to do? Will they make it to playoffs? 100% in my opinion. How deep will they go? That's going to be tough. If they match up, like if they fall at a 7th or 8th seed and match up against the Lakers or Clippers first round, I just don't know if they can compete with them right away. Well, I don't know. It's really soon to say. We don't know. Chris Paul could be just as good as he was with Thunder, and they can possibly take out anyone and be one of the best in the West. I wish this was somehow a team that was in the East where there's not a lot of competition, in my opinion. It'd just be kind of the Suns versus the Nets, but of course that's obviously not real. That's fairyland. In the West, I don't see anything serious happening as far as full-on finals contention-wise, in my opinion.
All right, now I love this move. Honestly, I love it for both teams. You look at the Suns; they're getting a still prime Chris Paul. I mean, we'll see if his numbers take a dip, but he showed last year with a young Thunder squad why he's still one of the top point guards in the league. I mean, dude was a finalist for MVP. He absolutely balled, so I'm really excited to see him with Devin Booker, one of the most electric backcourts in the NBA right now. Their mid-range game is about to be god tier with Devin Booker and Chris Paul. Those two guys are about the best at their craft with mid-range. But on the flip side for the Thunder, you look at it, they have a motherload of first-round picks. They're getting some solid vets in Ricky Rubio and a young star, not a star, but a guy that is ascending in Kelly Oubre. So I like this. It fits what the Thunder are trying to do as far as rebuilding, and it fits what the Suns are trying to do as far as getting, a team together that can make a push to the playoffs, which I think they'll make the playoffs, and they'll definitely be an electrifying team to watch, but I don't see them getting past first or second round at this point. We'll see how the season shakes up for them, but right now with the West being loaded, as you said, Jay, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with both of them. I really like this move. I think that this is the Thunder now have 17 first-round picks in the next 7 years. That's over two a year, and I think this is going to allow them to be real long-term. Yeah, they need a good coach to develop all these young players, and I think if they can find that they will do very well. And I think that Chris Paul to the Suns will definitely complement Devin Booker and help him out in the long run. I think that they might be able to make it to maybe the third round. I don't know. It really depends, though, to see what he's doing. I mean, I saw on this article that last year was Chris Paul's first All-Star game since 2016, so maybe he's trying to do a little bit better late in his career, so we'll have to see whether his age affects him at all or if he's able to keep putting up numbers like he did early in his career in last year.
Yeah. They said a lot of good stuff. I like this trade for both teams, of course. I'm a big Devin Booker fan. I like this move for the Suns. I think this really jumps their stock there in the West, but of course that's the far stronger conference in the NBA. So I don't see this immediately putting them in finals contention at all. But again, I think we'll see them at least in the playoffs this season. I think that's a pretty common thing that we can agree on. Is this will be a playoff team this year with the addition of a Chris Paul. And we haven't mentioned who's the other guy in the trade.
Abdel
Nader,
his name is.
Abdel Nader.
I don't know if he's really significant.
Well, Abdel Nader, but if we're being Abdel Nader is the reason they won this trade.
You think so?
It's the reason they won this battle.
So of course they got Chris Paul. I think that'll be, like Greg said, this definitely improves their mid-range game, and I think the Suns become significantly better come next season. But this isn't a team I'm looking for in the finals this season, maybe in the future. And of course, I think this is not. It's hard to say who won this trade. I think the Thunder are in a real good spot with what Wade said, with averaging over 2 first-round picks for the next 7 years for each draft. So I think the Thunder also in the long term will become a good team in the next decade at least.
Yeah. One thing I thought was interesting is that I feel like this trade is going to be even better for Devin Booker than it is for Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Because you look at what Chris Paul did last year on the Thunder. He elevated Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's going to be a young all-star soon in his career. He elevated his game, and he elevated the game of all of the young guys around him. Like Lou Dort, he even elevated Dennis Schroeder's game to an instance. And I think now with Devin Booker and just he's gonna be able to let Devin Booker create shots and cook for that team. And we still haven't even mentioned Deandre Ayton, which I think Chris Paul will be awesome for, because now Chris Paul, who's a P&R god, is just going to start running P&Rs with DeAndre Ayton, and it's going to be a scary sight to see, especially with the ability to just pass out and have Devin Booker, of all people, who I think is going to take an even bigger leap forward this year than he did in his last couple of seasons. So I'm really excited to see how Chris Paul elevates the youth on this roster above and beyond their potential, which I think their potential is bright. We'll see, if the Suns make any more moves, but right now I really like this transaction for Chris Paul. So
Yeah.
it'll be good.
Even if this trade didn't happen, I think all of us would have at least guessed the Suns at least make it to the 8th seed or 7th seed this year and sneak into the playoffs even without Chris Paul, just
Yeah.
because of how they look in
Yeah.
the bubble. Now they'll definitely make it in, maybe be 5th, 6th, 4th, 3rd seed, we don't know. But playoffs are guaranteed, I think. And as of right now, I think everyone would pretty much agree that the Suns, on paper, won this trade as of today, but who knows? The Thunder could draft LeBron James with that pick in the future. So as of right now, I'm going to go with the Suns with the win long term. We don't know.
Yeah.
Sounds
So that sounds good. Yeah.
Good wins.